Today on the Broadway Shuffle, a Texas Tech sports podcast, we react to Texas Tech's upset win over Iowa State. Just how far can the Red Raiders go and why Jeff Goodman is an absolute idiot. But first, as always, I am Brennan Baxter, pleased to be joined by my wonderful co-host Clayton Anderson, Zyler Buchanan, and the one and only Conrad Mills. We want to thank our sponsors of this episode, Wonder Tree and Hub City Body Shop. As always, if this is your first time listening, we would ask if you could do us a huge favor and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And if you've been a shuffler for a while, we appreciate you. Just double check, hit that alert button. It is 100% free and helps us reach more and more Red Raiders each and every week. We appreciate and love you guys so much. And you need to subscribe because this episode we're releasing normally on a Monday, but we did have a special guest and a special interview. Vice Chairman of our Board of Regents at Texas Tech, Dusty Womble. We had a great sit down with Mr. Womble, about 40 minutes. Great conversation about the NIL, just his love for Texas Tech, and a lot of things surrounding college athletics. So make sure you tune into that on Tuesday morning as well on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. But Clayton Anderson, Texas Tech continues to prove the haters wrong, man. Some of them here on this very show. I believe Zyler had us losing by 20 over the weekend. Your thoughts on the moments that defined the game for Texas Tech?
Yeah, man, there were so many throughout this game, but I feel like for me, the story of the game was really just like the shot making at the end of the shot clock. I mean, I can't even count how many times someone hit a massive shot with like less than 5 seconds in the shot clock, and it felt like it was every person on the team. Like I know Petty, Brian, Anderson, Mosley, they all had different plays at one time. For me, that was like the reason you won the game, but you basically controlled the game for, basically like the middle 30 minutes, I would say. They played it close at the beginning and they went on a run late. But other than that, I thought the game plan defensively was excellent. They pretty much just face guarded Momcilovic, tried to make Lipsy be a scorer, and then just double Jefferson every time he got the ball in the post. So I thought on both sides of the ball, it was just excellent game. And Grant, he's just insane, man. Like I feel like every time there's a game that feels impossible to win, he somehow pulls it off. He just does it every time.
Yeah, Z, you had us losing 80-64, if I remember correctly. So
I don't think
you
that
want to go ahead and explain yourself here. What went wrong for your Iowa State Cyclones over the weekend?
I think I should have realized that Iowa State has a fourth-year point guard that's shooting 65% from the free throw line and 27% from the three-point line. And as a fourth-year player, as a point guard, you just cannot be doing that and take yourself as a serious basketball team. I don't understand that, and I don't know how that happens to somebody like Tamin Lipsy. Like he was so good his freshman year, like he had everything in front of him, and I don't know. I'm just like, what do we got going on here?
Stop
and
deflecting,
I did say,
Zyler. Stop deflecting.
I am done. I am done betting against Tech as like a significant underdog. It's just like McCasland thrives as that like underdog. Write us off at your own risk. We are going to come at your throat. And like he just does not care. They matchup hunt, and it's hard when you watch the games. Him and his staff are just so good at hunting your defensive, like your weaknesses on defense, and saying, we're going to hit you with this over and over and over again, and then subbing that other guy, and then we're going to go at him too. And they're just really good at finding those kind of mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent at it because you look at those rosters and it's like, there's really no reason we should be like hammering this team by 20, and we are. Like we're just getting great looks. And I think to Clayton's point too, there has to be something to be said for the shot making. Like there were plenty of possessions Iowa State played great defenses for 30 seconds, and we just hit a ridiculous shot. The Lawan Watts 3 that rattled in, some of the Petty shots that went in, some of Christian's stuff, like that's tip of the cap. That's great players making great plays, and that's not really anything on Iowa State. But man, just what an unbelievable result. And I think something that validates a lot of your results that you did without Toppin, saying, hey, listen, we're still a really freaking good team. Don't discount those wins. We can still do that with this squad. And you basically locked up a top 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament, which is, I think, maybe not the more important part, but a really important part too.
Yeah, Conrad, we talked on our preview episode right before the game about that opportunity that if Texas Tech is able to go win this game and then beat TCU on senior night, they would lock up a top 4 spot, get a little bit of extra rest in the Big 12 tournament, have an opportunity to get healthy and just rest, because all these guys are playing 40 minutes essentially a game now. But one guy that really stepped up that I wanted to get your thoughts on was Brian. I mean, this guy has been absolutely torched all year long. No trust in him. Can't come off the bench and do anything. No production. What more could I say? What more could I do to defame this guy? But he stepped up in a huge way off the bench. Your thoughts on Texas Tech's bench production and how the team really rallied together as a whole to knock off the Cyclones?
Yeah, I think that's just a testament to Brian and what he is as a player. Guys, we know it. I mean, all of us being superstar basketball players in our own right. I mean, you go through lulls in your own, your own development and your own shot making, and he did this year. But he's drastically improved, and he's been a big part of this team of late. And I think 24 minutes, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist on Saturday. I mean, he's a good player, and he's shown that. And I think he's improved. And part of that, he needs to get the credit for that, but also the staff needs to get the credit for that, because you have a guy that went through some of the things he went through this year on the court, and you're like, man, what is going on? But somehow, some way, Grant and this staff have just pulled out the best of him recently, and that's just a really cool thing to see. Some people listening to this podcast may say, you guys are just in love with Grant McCasland, and you would be 100% correct. It is unbelievable having a coach at this level, and not just him, but the rest of his staff as well, doing what they're doing, and to go into the number 4 team in the country and beat them at their place without JT Toppin. I don't know. I mean, you obviously need to say the things about Atwell, about CA, about the Watts 3, about all these things. Like, yes, but you don't do that if Grant McCasland's not your coach. And pick against Grant at your own peril. You guys have said it. I don't think I'm ever going to pick against Tech again as long as he's the head coach. I mean, you could put us 4 guys out there and somebody else, and I'd still pick us, because he would find a way somehow, because that's how good of a coach he is. And so all hail Grant McCasland, man. Unbelievable coach, unbelievable person. I feel bad for all the other schools that he is not their head coach.
Friend of the program too, which makes it even easier to love him, right? That makes it a lot easier. Clayton, you had a good point too, and with Christian Anderson in foul trouble without JT Toppin, like, we had to see what this team looks like without a Christian Anderson and without a JT Toppin on the floor at the same time. Really, the first time all year we've seen that happen. And Mosley and Bryan and Watts and Petty. I mean, these guys just stepped up, and it really is a testament to what Conrad was saying about Grant's ability to coach down the bench. It's not just JT Toppin. It's not just Christian Anderson. How impressed were you with those minutes without Christian Anderson on the floor?
Yeah, I thought that was, another huge thing in the game. Whenever he got his 4th, was there 15 minutes left or something, or was it less than that?
Like
I can't remember.
It was like right after the media timeout, I believe.
Yeah, I think you went down to like 8.5 to go, and you had stretched the lead by 1, if I remember correctly. So being able to weather that, because like you said, I mean, that I almost guarantee that's the longest stretch all year without Christian or JT on the floor. And I feel like that's a huge testament to Petty and also Watts, for all of his blemishes throughout the year. Like, having a guy like that you actually trust to handle the ball. And I know he had a couple turnovers, but being able to give him the ball as a power forward or whatever you want to call him in those moments is also huge. And yeah, just huge testament to everyone on the floor at that time defensively, and they made the shots when they had to. I feel like the offense was a little rough during that stretch, but they did what they had to.
The amount of texts I get on Lawan Watts, like, it's either the best thing they've ever seen, or they're like, please, for the love of God, get him off the floor. Like, what is it about Watts that makes him so polarizing as a player? Like, there's just not a lot of consistency, but there are a lot of great moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were asking Watts to do a lot in your offense, and so I think that's part of it too. He gets more put on his, like, if we had Tyree Bryan bringing the ball up and having to distribute and run the offense, I think we'd all have some issues with Tyree Bryan. So we put the ball in Watts' hands a lot, and so he is asked to do more, and I think that's part of it. I think the thing that I was really impressed, I thought this was Watts' best defensive effort, and that's why I was so thrilled with his performance. What he did against Jefferson, I can't think of a possession where I was like, dude, what are you doing? Outside of the foul on Momcilovic, it's stuff like that. Like, he'll play great defense on Joshua Jefferson, who's maybe the Big 12 Player of the Year frontrunner, and we can talk about that later, but he'll do great defense on this guy the whole game, and then he'll foul the best three-point shooter in the country on a three-point. And you're like, dude, come on. So it's just stuff like that where there's a lot on his plate. And I've been impressed with Watts since Toppin has gone down. I think he's been pretty good.
When you're looking at the solidified number 2, I mean, Atwell seems to be like the guy. Like it's Christian Anderson and then Atwell's a scorer. I mean, he's just shooting the lights out of the ball. He's there. But if you're looking at that number 3, does it need to be Watts? Can it be Petty? I mean, could it be Mosley? I mean, Mosley showed a lot of promise. Who do you need outside of Anderson and Atwell to play great basketball to make it to the Elite 8 or Final 4? Like, which of the other guys do you really need? Is it Watts, or would you say it's Petty or Mosley?
If you had Watts, I'll say this. If you had Mosley go like nuclear, he has the ability to get to the free throw line and get fouled, and that can cause a lot of problems for some teams that maybe don't have depth. And so I think him exploding, like if he starts going for like 15 and 10 every night, which, I mean, that would be a huge jump for what he's been. But I've been incredibly impressed with his athleticism and his free throw shooting. And his touch. I mean, his touch is not JT level, but it's acceptable. Like he can play in the short roll, and I think he's your best player in the short roll. If you don't have JT, who is the best short roll player in the country, so I've been impressed with him. If he starts really getting involved in the offense, watch out.
Conrad, you've now beaten in the poll. We're recording this prior to the new AP poll coming out, but at the current iteration on a Sunday night, number 4, 5, 1, and 2 in the top 5 of the AP poll. What has your favorite win been out of those 4 so far this year?
I'd probably say Arizona. I don't know. I mean, there's something special about Duke and MSG, but like Arizona in that arena with how good they are this year and going in there and doing what you did. I mean, that for me is my favorite, but I mean, I could be talked into all of them, honestly. I mean, you know, who else has those wins to pick from as their favorite? Nobody does except for us. And so tough to be anybody except for Texas Tech right now, huh?
Yeah, and Z, that got me thinking about that because the Duke win obviously was so cool at MSG and how you beat Duke in the comeback. But I would say this win for me is my favorite because of the grittiness of the team and knowing that JT Toppin is out. The Arizona win, you had a great JT Toppin still. And yeah, it's number 1 on the road. But this one just felt special. It felt like it kind of let the fan base breathe a little bit and say, okay, maybe we can make a run. Like if you can beat Iowa State on the road, you could beat anybody. And that's without JT Toppin. Do you feel like this win gave you more confidence in Texas Tech's ability to make it to the Final 4?
Yeah. Oh, there's no way it doesn't. I mean, you're 3-0 and you've covered the spread in every game since JT's been out. Now, I still think there's something to be said for teams are going to get film on you now and what you're running without JT. You know, so they're going to figure out kind of some stuff that you're doing here. But man, this coaching staff and this collection of players are going to give you a chance in every game. And I feel really good about that now. The thing that I'll worry is just if we run into a team that has a ton of size, you know, and this is like if we're fortunate enough to play Michigan or Florida or something like that in March Madness, you know, that cherry on top. I'm not going to be upset about that. I mean, that means you've had a really good run. Those are teams where I'm like, what in the world does that look like? So that's maybe something that I'm worried about. But I've got confidence in this group now. Like I feel, hey, you can go into Hilton and win. Like, what else can you do? That's about as tough of a win as or tough of a place to play is in the country. So I'm so impressed with this staff. They're excellent at what they do. I can't say enough. And you know what I also can't say enough about is how Joshua Jefferson will be the most fraudulent Big 12 player of the year. Me and Clayton have been on this train. Clayton started the train, and then I quickly hopped on board. It's crazy how much of his game is like getting these stupid whistles. And the Iowa State comeback was mounted by them, and I tweeted about this. They got 6 possessions in a row with free throws, and that's what really allowed them to cut into that lead. It was absurd. And I think you had that one critical missed call where they called the foul on Lipsey for Donovan Atwell falling down. And I realize I'm kind of rabbit holing here. That was a bad call. Like, well, we'll call a spade a spade. But man, you could not get a whistle to go your way. Christian gets a horrible whistle. For a superstar point guard, he gets the worst whistle of any guard I've ever seen that's considered like a superstar. It's unbelievable. To overcome all of that, man, you can overcome a lot now. So impressed.
Yeah, no surprise. It felt like the refs in the Big 12 wanted the home team there to find a way back into the game. It just felt like that, Clayton, midway through the second half there when Iowa State cut it to 6. This win with Texas Tech now, a lot of the question was, well, they moved to the 4 seed or the 4 line because JT Toppin's out. But then you beat a top 4 team on the road. That changes the game a little bit. Do you feel confident, Clayton, that Texas Tech will sit on that 3 line barring an upset loss to TCU and maybe a loss to BYU this upcoming weekend?
I definitely think they should. And I actually feel pretty strongly about this, that the committee kind of backed themselves into a corner by saying they dropped us because JT is out. And now, like, do I actually think that we're better without him? No, but we do have the number one offensive efficiency in the country since he went down. So, like you said, beating Iowa State on the road, if the only reason you dropped us is because of suspicions of what we might do after that, I feel like you have to move us up back to a 3 now, if that's, your reasoning on your actual explanation on the show. There's teams, since the reveal, Illinois has been 0-2, Purdue's been 0-2, Gonzaga lost yesterday, St. Mary's, Kansas has gotten blown out twice. So I feel strongly that we should be on the 3 line. I don't know if that's actually what's going to be the case come Selection Sunday, but I think that we should be there.
And Brennan, you may have a thought. If the selection show was today, after all the results, I legitimately think you could be anywhere from, you could even be the last 2 seed.
Come on,
or you could
I
be
was just about to say.
Or you could be the last 4 seed. I legitimately would not be shocked by anything. It's the most confusing between basically the last 2 and the, let's say, 3rd, 4 seed that I've ever seen, where it's like legitimately you can swap like 7 or 8 teams in the exact same spot, and it's like justifiable. And that usually never happens. And we've still got a whole nother week of data, but I guess 2 weeks of the conference tournament. So it'll sort itself out, but it is kind of wild right there.
There's
I was going to say, why stop at 3, Clay? Why stop at 3 when you could go to a 2?
True. No, but I that is possible. I feel like there's like 7 teams that should be a 3 seed, but one of them has to be a 2 and 3 of them have to be a 4. Yeah. So hopefully
that's a great way to put it.
One of those 4 seeds. But I also want to say something about Josh Jefferson.
Go ahead.
This guy is the most fraudulent playmaker I've ever seen. Half of his assists are dribble handoffs to Momcilovic, where he hits like an insane fadeaway 3, and it's nothing that Jefferson did. That is most of his playmaking.
Yes, correct. And he's a good defender. He gets away. They did that slow-mo on him getting that steal on Christian, and it's just like a clear like grab of the hand, drag the arm, and the ball falls out. And it's like, dude, come on. And I can respect like a playmaking 4. Like, he's a good player. He will be the worst Big 12 player of the year in like 12 years if he ends up winning it. I'll be just so disappointed. I would take JT over Josh, like, easily.
Same.
I feel like that's an obvious one. I'd take JT over anyone in the country, probably, maybe minus Boozer.
I think JT should win it. I still think he should, even though he's going to miss 5 games. Like, he was very clearly the best player in the Big 12.
I hope he does. I hope he does. Well, before we get to a look around the Big 12 and break down Texas Tech's chances in the conference and looking ahead to March Madness, I did want to get to our Hub City Body Shop play of the game. Proud supporters of Texas Tech. With big plays come big hits, and if your car ever takes one too, Hub City knows how to fix it. And that play of the game, guys, is none other than Jalen Petty's step back 3 after Iowa State had cut it to 6. What a freaking move by the true freshman guard. It was so much fun to watch. That was one of those moves where you saw like, oh crap, like this kid can do this. And it was a huge 3 that led to a big run for Texas Tech there in the second half and pretty much sealed the game. So shout out to Jalen Petty for being our Hub City Body Shop impact play of the game. And we're going to need him to step up big, quickly becoming what Christian Anderson was for you last year, a go-to guard that can get a bucket when you need him. I love seeing him in ISO some that game too. And Grant trusting him to go to work, that was fantastic as well too. So, well, you guys mentioned the Big 12 and Kansas losing 2 in a row and BYU on a huge, huge struggle. Lost 4 of 8. Richie Saunders out for the year. They lost to West Virginia over the weekend. But I did want to touch on the TCU game, man. This TCU team, they've been gritty. They found a way to get some wins, Conrad. They come into Lubbock senior night. If they beat Texas Tech, they would probably find their way into the tournament. They're right there on the bubble right now. Your concern level 1 to 10 with TCU against Tech Tuesday night in Lubbock.
Yeah, I'm not concerned at all. I mean, even though they play with 6 players on the court and they're still barely in the tournament conversation is just unbelievable to me. It's just crazy to see. I haven't watched a second of TCU basketball this whole year. Tuesday night will be the first time for me, and I can't wait to just see them get throttled. It'll just be a glorious sight and banish them into the abyss of the of the Big 12 and of college basketball in general. But very excited to see what Texas Tech does on Tuesday night. I'm saying, maybe Christian goes for 25 and 8 on Tuesday night. Who knows?
Z, what do we need to know about these Horned Frogs? I mean, it is kind of a win or go home. I mean, they might still be able to sneak into the tournament with a loss against Texas Tech, but a win almost secures them the bid. What do we need to know about TCU coming into Lubbock? And are you concerned at all? I mean, you did pick Texas Tech to lose to Arizona. You picked Texas Tech to lose to Iowa State, not to keep digging the knife deeper. You got Texas Tech beating TCU at least. Can we get one prediction from you that goes right?
Yeah. I mean, they've got some good players. Xavier Edmonds is the guy. Xavier and David Punch are kind of like their 6'8", 6'7" guys that TCU always seems to have. You're going to have to rebound well. If you rebound well, I don't think this should really be a problem for you. They haven't shot well enough. They got two white kids that can shoot it a little bit, but I think if you play your game,
what's wrong with that?
Oh, nothing. It's just like a very stereotypical like white guy player. Like, oh, I'm 6 foot and I bomb threes. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Like Brennan Baxter.
Yeah,
like they just 5'5" white guy player.
You just got to stop them inside. Bamboya's got to stay out of foul trouble. You got to make sure that you don't let them get to the free throw line. They're like a worse version of Iowa State. They want to get to the free throw line. That's where they score most of their points. That would just be the thing that you need to do an excellent job of. They're going to let you take some 3-pointers, and I think that always plays in your favor. So you should win. But I just Tech against TCU in basketball for whatever reason is always kind of weird. So I'll count that game as a win as final buzzer ends.
There you go. Good. Clay, looking around the conference now, you do move up to second. A win against TCU does secure you a top 4 bye into the Big 12 tournament. What's going on with Kansas? What's going on UCF, with a weird game as well there too, against Baylor with a controversial call. They end up losing to Baylor, a bad Baylor team. Your thoughts on where the conference is at now as we get closer to March Madness?
I feel like it's pretty much more the same, where there's like a clear-cut line between the top and the bottom of the conference, although BYU has probably drifted into the bottom since Richie Saunders' injury. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the rest of the conference is just so random and unpredictable. Like you said with UCF, like they went to Provo and hit like 15 threes a week ago, and now they lose at home to Baylor, one of the worst teams in the conference. And I feel like that can happen with like any of the non-top 5 teams. I still think Kansas is really good, but outside of Allen Fieldhouse, like they have the opportunity to get blown out if things don't go their way. And I will definitely be fading them in March for that exact reason.
Yeah. If there was one team not named Texas Tech that you'd pick to go to the Final Four out of the Big 12, who would it be?
I think Arizona's the obvious one. I still think Houston can do it, but I'd be concerned about their offense. I feel like they have Sharp and Flemings and not much else on that end of the court.
Dude, sometimes Houston just looks like they have no idea what they're doing offensively. It's like, is this just like give the ball to somebody and hope they make a play off the bounce? That's the one thing that I hate about Houston. But when they're going, they're so good.
Conrad, you got a team?
I'd pick Arizona. Easy.
Arizona.
I'll take the easy answer. I'm not ashamed of it. If they're good, they're good.
Yeah.
Also, a final note on TCU. Really, the only thing you need to know about this team is that their highest paid player in NIL is a 6-foot white kid who shoots 28% from 3. So that's exactly, pretty much all encapsulating on what their roster is this year.
Yeah, good deal.
It's great talent.
Clayton, is that saying something about TCU's roster management, or is that saying they don't have any money, or both?
I think some of both. I think it says more about their talent evaluation, though. Yeah, to be honest,
the genuine pleasure that Conrad gets in trashing TCU and Baylor, it's not for show. It's not for the show. Like you see it on his face, just the nod.
It's probably unhealthy, honestly.
It might be a little unhealthy, but we're here for it, man.
I went to Waco on a Friday night to watch a high school basketball game. Shout out May Tigers for beating the Natchez Tigers on Friday night, and went to Terry Black's in Waco. They don't have to pay us for me to mention them. They're so good. Their barbecue is just out of this world. And it was really difficult for me being that close to Baylor University. I had to come home and take a shower just because it's hard for me to be that close to that school.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Well,
but I am looking forward to November 21st, 2026, when we walk in to their stadium and give them, we win by 30.
Yeah, give them a 50 piece. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for a Tech Baylor game and a Tech TC back to back in the year next year. I can't wait for that too. Well, before we get to why Jeff Goodman is an idiot, Wonder Tree exists for business owners for one reason: strategy, ads, creative, all handled. And we want to thank Wonder Tree for sponsoring this episode. So, all right, this Jeff Goodman guy, man, if you don't know who he is, he's part of the Field of 68 podcast, which I usually like, but he had made a comment, Conrad, about Texas Tech basketball without JT Toppin. He said this team would be right around a 10 seed. So to get to our Tommy Tubervilles of the week, I want to go to you on what in the world is wrong with Jeff Goodman.
I'm still trying to figure it out, just like you guys are too. That kind of logic. What would Indiana have been this year without Fernando Mendoza? Not a good look, Jeff. I mean, you get paid a lot of money for takes online. I guess that gets the clicks, and we're talking about it. But Jeff, you can't say something like that. It's just not the right way to think about basketball. It's not the right way to think about sports, and that's actually what we're seeing. What we're seeing on the court, a factually incorrect statement. I think this team would have been. I don't know if it would have been what it is right now, but I don't think it would have been a 10 seed. So, Jeff Goodman, you are my Tommy of the week.
Love it. Clayton, I know you wanted to do a Jeff Goodman too. You got someone else in mind, or should we just keep picking on Jeff?
Yeah, I had to go to my second option tonight, but my Tommy of the week is Miami, Ohio coach Travis Steele. I don't know if y'all saw that clip. Something happened in the game. I think he got ejected, and on his way to the locker room, he like grabbed the DJ's speaker stand and like threw it to the ground. And then he went back to the locker room. Oh, I can't believe you missed it. You should go look it up. But just a horrible look for a coach. Like I would actually be embarrassed if Grant McCasland did that. And I feel like this may be into the territory of overanalyzing it. But to me, as a guy who's like probably trying to angle for bigger jobs, that in itself is like a huge red flag to me in a coach that he would do that on his way out of the game in his first like sign of adversity all season. So Travis Steele, you're my Tommy of the week.
That's a good one. Yeah, dude, you're undefeated. You got the only undefeated team left in college basketball. Like, relax a little bit. Though, I guess if they do lose one, they could still miss the tournament, apparently. So we'll see.
That is true.
Z, who you got this week?
We've got one consistent Auburn listener on here, so shout out to him. But mine is going to be Bruce Pearl for retiring one day before official practices start to hand over the reins of the job to his son, a team that was a 1 seed last year and that's playing one of the hardest schedules of all time. He goes on this basketball show and says, listen, if we're selecting the best teams, Miami, Ohio can't be in, even though they're 28-0. You know that he's clearly vouching for his son, whose team is 15-14 and still might make the tournament, which is absurd. And Miami, Ohio's WAB, whatever you want to say, wins above bubble, is several points ahead of Auburn's. If they played the same schedule, what Miami has done is more impressive than Auburn. Bruce doesn't know how the seeding works. So Bruce Pearl, for retiring and then hoisting this job upon your son and him failing at it so far, you're my Tommy Tuberville of the week.
That's a good one. Mine's Jeff Goodman. I'm right there with Conrad, man. I don't know. You guys veered off. I'm riding with Conrad as always, man. Just such a goofy comment to make. And I did think it was interesting. Like, Grant goes on their show. I think we've seen the viral clip of Grant putting up the 10 fingers, like messing with Jeff Goodman about being a 10 seed. It's like, you're going to say that about a coach and a team that you have a relationship with. They're obviously working with Texas Tech to get Grant on their show right after games for a little bit. So I just thought it was a silly way to poke fun at a team that's given you an opportunity to get to their coach. Conrad?
Grant, if you're listening, we know you are. We would never do that to you. You are more than welcome to come on our show anytime after any game, anywhere. We'll make it happen. We would never say such a thing about the greatest head coach in Texas Tech basketball history. Maybe would be my statement at that point. But I don't know. It's just an interesting comment to make, and one that the Broadway Shuffle would never make. Right, Zyler?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a great selling point, Conrad. Good endorsement there. Grant, we know you listen all the time. You said I could play for you. If someone goes down again, feel free to give me a call. I've been shooting hoops preparing for Clayton and I's spring basketball league on Sunday afternoon. So I'm getting warm, Grant. We know you're out there.
Brennan, you're also bringing back the 1960s short length as well?
If you guys could see him now. If you can see him now, if I sat up a little bit, but I don't want to give the listeners and the audience too much, man. You know, we gotta go slow time.
Brennan, I gotta know, the Masters Sunday is coming up. Are you guys going to be playing in your basketball game while the Masters is going? That seems. I would never expect that of you.
I might get sick that Sunday, Z. April 12th, I might have to put in, let the guys go without me. We'll see what happens. Depends if
Rory's
up
winning
there on
again, so
Sunday.
that's what matters.
If Rory's up there, I definitely won't be playing basketball. That's for sure, man. Well, what a great episode, guys. Ton of fun. We will be back tomorrow, Tuesday morning, with Dusty Womble of Texas Tech. We sat down with Dusty again. If you didn't catch the beginning of the episode, it was about a 40-minute conversation, tons of fun, lots of good insight. We talked a little bit about Coach McCaslin Conrad compared to our former coach, he who shall not be named on this episode, but Dusty had no problem naming him. And so that conversation happens, NIL. You get to learn more about Mr. Womble and his family. It's a fantastic conversation. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or Apple, follow us on all of our social media channels as well if you would love to do that. You can find that in the description at the Broadway Shuffle on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. So, man, ton of fun. We'll be back Tuesday and then obviously on Thursday to break down the TCU game. Look ahead to the BYU game, and March Madness, fellas, is right around the corner. We can't wait for that. We will be here all March for live reactions to break down every single one of Texas Tech's March Madness games as they make a push towards the Final Four. So, for Conrad, Zyler, and Clayton, I am Brennan Baxter, Reckham Tech, and we'll see you guys next time here on the Broadway Shuffle.
Thanks, Brennan.
He makes the catch. He's going all the way. 20, 15.